How you doing there? Welcome back to Babylon Talmud. Today we're studying Daf Lamed Hey, Daf 35 of Masechta Kiddushin. Friends. Yo, friends. Bam, ba-da-da-dam. Okay. Today we're learning the final piece of the mitzvahs essay, mitzvahs lesaisei stuff. Right. So yesterday we learned about mitzvahs essay, shazman grom, mitzvahs essay, shalazman grom, and now we're going to talk about mitzvahs lesaisei, and then we're going to kind of get into the last piece of our Mishnah, which was that noshim are chayavis in all mitzvahs lesaisei. The three exceptions being tumas hameis for kohenes, and shaving the payas and shaving the beard, destroying the beard. So we're going to discuss that halacha as well. So now we're going to start Daf Lamed Hey Amud Aleph. We did about 2/3 of the daf yesterday, maybe even 3/4. So we're going to start the two dots about, between 10 and 15 lines from the bottom of the daf. There's two dots. That mitzvahs lesaisei apply equally to the men and the women. Okay. How do we know this? Amar Rav Amar Rav, Ish Isha Kiyaisi Mikol Chatos Ha'adam Hishvei HaKosav Isha Leish L'chol Onshim Shabbatorah. That the pasuk says by Shvuas HaPikadon, right? That if a fellow swears that he doesn't, Shimon lent Reuven gave epis to Reuven to watch, and Reuven denies the thing, so he's got to swear about it. So then. All right. So Isha ki yaisim kol chatos adam. So if a fellow does any of these sins, and then what was I supposed to say? No. Where am I? Okay, fine. And then he admits that he lied. I believe that's what. So he brings in a korban oshim. So then it says Isha. So it says a fellow or a fella kiyasim kol chatos adam, that if they do any chatos. So Hishvei HaKosav Isha Leish L'chol Onshim Shabbatorah, that we compare the fellows and the fellas for all punishments in the Torah. So there you have it. Anything you be chayav a korban chatos for, Rashi says malchus. So you be chayav malchus for any lav be'etzim. So then what the heck am I talking about? Yeah, what's that? Yeah, okay, fine. Oh yeah, okay, why not? Okay, but any lav in the Torah, so then the fellows and the fellas are equal. The Rabbi Eliezer Tana, and they taught in the Bismedj of Rabbi Eliezer. Now, this is not teaching how we know that men and women are equal when it comes to lavin, but this is a separate halacha, which is Amar Kra, the pasuk says Asher Tosim Lefneim, that when it comes to dinei mamanis, Hishvei HaKosav Isha Leish Chol Dinim Shabbatorah, that fellows and fellas are on equal footing when it comes to dinei mamanis, all the halachas, the monetary halachas. The Vechizkiah Tanu stop at the Besmensh of Chizkiah. Amar Kra, the pasuk says Vehemis Ish O Isha Hishvei HaKosav Ish Leisha Leish L'chol Isha Leish. What Isha Leish Chol Mitzvah Shabbatorah? Wow, I have no clue what's going on. Anyways, the pasuk says Vehemis Isha Isha. It says by Ashur, but it talks about. So we want to say Vehemis Isha Isha, that Hishvei HaKosav Isha Leish L'chol Mitzvah Shabbatorah. Whenever it comes to Misa, whether it's being killed by an ox or being killed if another fellow who kills another fellow, so men and women are on the equal footing for that. They will be chayav equally. Now, v'tzricha, we need all three cases. We need the case by Lavin, to say that men and women are the same. We need the case by dinei mamanis, to say that men and women are the same. And by Misa, that men and women are the same. If we would only have Lavin, Mishum Kapore, Chos Rachmano Olav, for atonement, right? Because the pasuk is talking about bringing a korban, right? A korban, Shvuas HaPikadon. So you could bring a korban, so therefore, maybe, the Torah has mercy on the women that they can also bring a korban and get atonement. Aval dinin, when it comes to dinei mamnis, maybe I'll say, ish debar masu umaten in ishalo, a fellow who the Gemara assumes does more business than the fellas, so therefore the dinei mamnis would apply to him and not to her. Ve'ashminon ha, and if we would have these two, mishum dechiyusei Oh no! If we would have dinei mominus from the chiyusi, well, she needs it for her to be able to make a living. No, if women are outside of the halachis of dinei mominus, nobody's going to want to do business with them. Right? If they need to make a living, who's going to want to do business with them if none of the halachis, apply to them? Meaning, part of why you do business with somebody is you trust them. You trust that there's a legal system, that there's accountability, there's something like this. Who would ever want to do business with somebody who literally has no obligation, right? You can steal and that's fine because dinei mominus don't apply to them. In the end, it's going to hurt her because nobody's going to want to do business with her. So therefore, the dinei mominus apply to her as well. About kofar, when it comes to kofar, kofar is the pasuk by shore. If a shore kills a person, so you have to pay. Is the value of the person who got killed, the person who kills. Anyways, whose ox killed. But I might think that these halachos by misa, ema ish bar mitzvahs in ishalo. Maybe I'll say that these halachos by misa apply to men who are shaykh to mitzvah, to all the mitzvahs, including mitzvahs eseh shezman gromu, but maybe not women. So v'yashminon ha. And if we would have, and therefore we need the pasuk to say no, that by misa it applies to both men and women equally, v'yashminon ha. And if we would have the pasuk by misa mishum deika ibud neshame chas rachmana Allah, I might think that because there is a loss of life, that's why the pasuk said, if a woman is killed also, so then there's kofar as well. There's a loss of life, so you pay the value of the person. I guess you pay her. That's assuming, I guess, that you pay her value. Maybe I would say, but not by dinei mominus and not by lavin. So tzricha. Okay, I feel like I butchered that. But be'etzem we have a pasuk that men and women are equal when it comes to all mitzvahs losaise. Men and women are equal when it comes to dinei mominus. Men and women are equal when it comes to dinei nefashis. Okay, fine. So I think it applies to meaning that if they get killed, you would pay kofar for them. But I think it also means that if what is Rashi? The chomisos on Lamed Hey Amud Aleph. Rashi says the chomisos sheischayev ahorgan aleim misa v'cheina shor kofer. Oh, what? That if they get killed, I guess you'd pay kofar, or somebody would get killed for killing them. Oh, maybe that's the point, right? That the misos shabator means if they get killed. So if they were killed by an ox, then there would be a chiyuv kofar to pay her value, assuming that it's her value. And if she gets killed by a human, so the human would get killed for killing her. I think maybe that's the point. Okay. Now for the final push of the daf, chutz mi baltakif uvaltashris v'chulei. So the Mishnah had said that men and women are on equal footing when it comes to mitzvahs losaise. There are three exceptions. Not cutting off your payas. That applies to men, not to women. Not shaving the corners of, not like destroying, right? Los sashras, don't destroy the corners of your beard. That applies to men, not to women. And finally, the nefesh lo yitama ba'amav, right? The pasuk says by kahanim that they cannot become tmei. They don't go to a cemetery, don't become tmei. So that applies to the kohanim, not to the kohanot. Okay. Now, bishlam about titam lemeisim. So I understand. Okay, I understand that the kohanots are pturis from, that they're allowed to become tmei meis because the emer lekanim bnei Aharon, that it says, speak to the kohanim, the sons of Aharon, bnei Aharon, v'lo bnos Aharon, the sons of Aharon, not the daughters of Aharon. So it says. Where it says Emerald Kahanim b'nei Aharon, v'amatilin the nefesh l'itama ba'amav, don't become tmei meis. So the mitzvah of don't become tmei meis applies to the kohanim, not to the kohanot. Ella bal takif v'al tashchis minol. But how do I know that women are pturis from the lav of cutting off the payas and destroying the beard? The pasuk says, so how do I know this? Minol, how do I know this? The pasuk says, Lo sakifu pas roshchem, don't cut off your payas, Lo sashchis es pas zikonecho, and do not destroy your beard. Kol sheyeshne ba'ashchose, yeshno ba'akofe. That somebody who has the mitzvah of don't destroy your beard, oichid has the mitzvah of do not remove your payas. Vaninoshe hol ve'lo isnu ba'ashchose, and since women are pturis from destroying their beard, lesnu ba'akofe, so they're also paturis from removing their pay. So minolim to lo isnu ba'ashchose. Perfecting Gemara, how do I know that women are paturis from the mitzvah of destroying their beard? Iba yisem esvara dilha lo islu zakon. So one way to answer it is, well, practically speaking, women don't have beards that they would be shaykh don't destroy it. So therefore, if the pasuk of don't destroy the beard is not shaykh to women, so oichet don't destroy the pace is not shaykh to women. V'iba yisema, alternatively, kra, I can tell you a pasuk. The pasuk says lo sakifu pas roshchem, don't cut off your pace. Lo sashches says pas zikonecho. Right, so it says by the pace says roshchem, but then it changes it to zikonecho, your beard. Midishonika b'dibure, that from the fact that the pasuk changed its sort of, I don't know what the right technical word here, I don't think it's tense, but kind of changed its like ism. How's that? The imken dichtov rachmana pas zikanchem, right? Just like it says pas roshchem, it should also say v'losashchem says pas zikanchem, but it doesn't say. It says my zikonecha, your bard. Bard, I think, means beard in Yiddish, so we're going to go with that because it's funny. Zikonecha v'lo zikan ishtecha. So it says zikonecha, your board, and not your wife's board. So destroying the beard applies to the men, not to the women. Vilo, but 1 second, is that really the case? We learn in a brisa, zikan isha ve'asaris, the board of a woman or of a castrato, shehelu seyar, that they got a hair on their face. Now this is a brisa in the context of tsaras. Okay, okay, fine. So they got a hair on the face. So arehein kizakon l'chol devreim. So that hair on the face is considered like a beard for all intents and purposes. My love, what's all intents and purposes? La'ashchosa, to destroying it. That the lav, the mitzvah slosaise of don't destroy your beard, applies to the board of a woman or the board of a castrato. Omer Abaye says, Abaye, lashchosa lo motzis omart. Abaye says, nisht. Women are pturis, are not shaykh to the mitzvah slosaisi of do not shave, do not destroy your board. The olive pas mibnei aharon. Because we learn out Gzeira Shaveh, right? It says, lo sashchit says pas zikonecha, and it says by the bnei aharon, it says, zikonam lo yigalechu, ufa'as zikonam lo yigalechu. So it says pe'as by lo sashchis as pas zikonecha, and it says pe'as by ufa'as zikonam lo yigalechu. And we want to assume that all of these halachas by the Kohanim are only for Kohanim and not for Kohanot. So malahalam noshim peturis. So just like noshim are peturis from ufas zikonim lo yigalechu, afkan noshim peturis. So here oichit by losashris as pas zikonecha, women are peturis. Okay, fine. So women are peturis from destroying the board. Perfecting Gemara. If we really hold that this whole parsha by the Kohanim of Emer LaKohanim b'nei Aharon v'amatilim nefesh lo sitama ba'amav, don't become tmemeis, and then we move on. There's a few other psukim in between, but then we move on and we say lo yikachu karcha b'roshim v'faz zikonim lo yigalechu v'v'sarim lo yisu tosarates, that all of these halachis only apply to Kohanim and not to Kohanot. Well, if that's the case, nishto kramine, I don't need the Gezerah Shava. I don't need the Gezerah Shava. I can learn it out logically. V'teisi b'kavachomer. I'll learn it off from a kavachomer. V'ana amina, and I'll say, u'makihanim sheriba boy makosov mitzvahs yiseris. That if when it comes to Kohanim, that as we've learned before in the past, that Kohanim have lots of extra mitzvahs, lots of extra requirements, and they have a stricter kind of set of rules, and yet bnei Aharon v'lo bnos Aharon, and these rules only apply to the bnei Aharon, not to the bnos Aharon. The bnos Aharon can destroy their bards. So Yisrael lo kol shekain, then certainly Bas Yisrael would be able to destroy your board. If a Kohenes can destroy your board, so then a Bas Yisrael can alachas kama v'chama destroy her board. I don't need the Gzeira Shava if we're going to say that all of these halachos only apply to the Bnei Aharon, but not to the Benos Aharon. So Abai responds, no, you still need the Gzeira Shava, because ilav Gzeira Shava. If not for the fact that we had the Gzeira Shava of Pa'as, Hava Amino, Hifsiko Inyan. I would have said, look, there's a few psukim over there, right? The parsha starts out, but then there's 4 other psukim, and after that it says, so I may have thought that those psukim in between break up the flow, and by that point, by the time you get to the 5th pasuk, it is no longer just for the Bnei Aharon, maybe it's also for the Benos Aharon. Therefore comes the Gzeira Shava to say that we're learning out, from Yisraelim, right? Yisraelim from Kohanim. What are we learning out? We're learning out that Noshim are Peturis from destroying their board, and that applies, right? Because destroying the board only applies to the Bnei Aharon, not to the Benos Aharon, and then that's how we know that they're Peturis from this mitzvah, and we apply it to Yisraelios as well. But Hashanah Minim Ifsika Inyan, to which the Gemara says, meh, I'm not super convinced. The Gemara says, meh, I'm not super convinced. The Gemara says, meh, I'm not super convinced. What does the Gemara say? The Gemara says, meh, I'm not super convinced. We could still say that Hifsika Inyan. We could still say that only the first pasuk is Bnei Aharon. By the time you get to shaving the board, it's also Benos Aharon. V'imshum Gzeira Shava, and you're so concerned, but then what do we need the Gzeira Shava for? We need the Gzeira Shava for the following: that we make parallels between shaving of the board by a kohen and by a non-kohen. Leigalechu, that when it says by a kohen, it says leigalechu, don't shave it. Is it possible that if you shave with scissors, it'll be a problem? Tamlomar, it says by non-kohanim, lo sashchis, don't destroy it. No, scissors don't destroy, and therefore scissors are okay. The issue is don't destroy it. Scissors are okay. So we're already learning out halachas between kohanim and regular people. How do we learn out the halachas between the kohanim and the regular people? Because of the Gzeira Shava, pa'as. So we're using the Gzeira Shava, pa'as, to be able to apply lo yigalechu, to apply lo sashchis, between both kohanim and non-kohanim. Yachol likto bimlakit v'hitnei yechayiv. Is it possible that if used, I don't know, sometimes it's translated as a tweezer, sometimes it's translated as a plane, but some kind of thing where you're like plucking out and destroying the follicles, but you're not quite shaving, you're doing it on a hair-to-hair basis. Tamlom lo yigalechu, that won't be a problem because you have to shave it. It has to be kind of, do a lot of hairs at once. It needs to be shaving that also destroys the follicles. That is a razor. So what we need the Gzeira Shava for is to be able to have the 2-lane highway, right? The 2-way street that you can be learning between Kohanim and regular people. By Kohanim says Zigalechu, by the regular people says Los Ashris, to which we learn out that it has to be a shaving that also destroys the follicles. That's what we can use the Gzeira Shava for. But I don't need the Gzeira Shava to teach me that the women are Pturas from destroying their beard. No, if so, that the Gzeira Shava was only to teach the 2-way street, but that we learn out shaving with a razor, then it could just say no, what? Yes, what? No, what? Yes. And that would be referring to the payas, the corners of the board. My pa'as zikon, right? Because already earlier in the pasuk, right, it says lo sakivu pa'as roshchem by the regular people. V'lo sashchis says pa'as zikonech. Why does it have to say pa'as twice? It already says pa'as earlier in the pasuk, and if it just says v'lo sashchis as shebizikonecha and left out the word pa'as, I would say okay, it means don't destroy the corners of your board. So why does it say pa'as a second time? It's to learn the Gzeira Shava to teach that there's no hefsik between the first pasuk and the 5th pasuk, and Bnei Aharon only Bnei Aharon v'lo Benos Aharon applies to the whole thing, and we learn out pa'as to teach that it applies also to the regular women, and all that stuff is kind of necessary, and that's how we learn that destroying the board does not apply to women. Okay, so right, so my pa'as the konecha shmamino. Okay, but then, so if we're saying then that women are peturis from the losase of shaving the bard, of destroying the bard, so then what do we do with that brisa from Negoim? Tanya, that brisa, zikano ishav asaris, that the bard of a woman and of a castrato, shehelu seyar, that now they have a hair on their face, Haren kizakon l'chol devreim is considered like a board for all things. L'mayilchasa, what's it talking about? If we're saying that it's not talking about destroying it, because there's no problem of destroying the hair, so Amar Marzucha l'tumas negoim. What do you mean? It's talking about tumas negoim. That there's different halachas between the hair of the board and the hair of the head. The hair of the head needs to be white for it. The hair of the board and the hair, like if you have a regular tsaras, like on your, flesh, so then the hair would be a white hair, is tummy. But if you have a tsaras on your board, so it's a yellow hair. So we're saying that with regard to those halachis, men and women are the same. But tumas negoim behedjek sivo. But the pasuk says that explicitly, v'isho isha ki yebo nega barosho bezakon, that a fellow or a fella who has a tsaras on the head or on the board. So why do I need a brisa to teach me that it's the same? Selam Marzuch rather says Marzuch letaris negoim, for the purification of negoim, that the women need to have the same, the birds and the whole purification process like the men. Taris negoim nami pshito. But that's obvious. Given the bas tumai, since she becomes a mitzoras, bas tari, so she goes through the purification process. So it's going back to the original thing that we said, that to teach that she has tumas negoim, but we have the pasuk that says v'isho isha ki bo nega barosho bezakon. No, that's not enough. I may have thought that the pasuk is taught like on both sides. Isho isha in the following way: Isho isha ki bo nega barosh obiz barosh. That I may have thought to say that a man or a woman who has a tsaras on the head, and then obizakon hadar ason leish, that's now once again referring to only men, not to women. Kamash Milan, that what the Brisa is teaching, that no, the bard oichid applies to the women, that if there's a yellow hair on the bard, then it's tsaras. Friends, that was the Aflam Masechta Kiddushin. We learned about how do we know that mitzvahs lo saseh apply to all the people, men and women. And then we learned about the final three halachas from the Mishnah, which are that shaving your payas, destroying your beard, and kohenes not becoming tamei the mace, right? Not becoming tamei the mace do not apply to the women. Friends, that was the Aflam Masechta Kiddushin. Hope you enjoyed. Peace out.